Okay, hello everyone, or teacher. My name is Nicolás Trujillo, and this is my first video journal about my experience with the oral English course. Well, to start, the first thing that I want to point out is that this course is really a stressful experience. And what do I mean by unstressful experience? Me as a student, I'm kind of used to, and this is kind of sad, I'm used to feel stressed about classes, about the content, and I always suffer exam anxiety. Well, I have never felt any of that in this course, and I think that's great, because it is really hard to find such a safe space. I think that creates a perfect environment to improve and learn. At least that is the way I feel about it. In general, about the course, I believe most of the topics are really interesting to study, except the long texts. Those are really not cool. But thanks to that, I have learned concepts like modernism, postmodernism, and I think those concepts only works for you or for me to understand how some movements, like for example feminism, are having such protagonism nowadays. One of the great things about the class is that I've learned a lot of new words. This is mainly because I have to look out for a lot of words when I'm reading the weekly text, but in the classroom I have learned a lot of expressions and words, and also words, mostly about naming and emotions. For example, I can say that instead of being angry, I can be annoyed, or I'm not confused, but I'm perplexed. I think those are really fancy words, new fancy words. Okay, but related to the topics, the most interesting for me was the naming tradition, because I consider names something really important. It's our only personal possession, even if we lose everything at some point, we're still gonna have our names. I don't consider them just a way of being called or being like classified, like an ID, because you carry the same name your entire life. That's why I envy the Native Americans that have their own personal sacred names. We could use that too. We could have our own sacred names. It would be awesome. Well, but moving on. For my learning process, I think that the really important topics are strictly related to education. For example, how can emotions affect in a classroom, or how is it important to maintain a good attitude inside of the classroom in order to make my students feel safe inside of the classroom. Well, this of course will also motivate them to keep learning and improving. Okay, last, to conclude my first entry, this course really helps me to create opinions and new points of view. Personally, I'm really satisfied about the proposed learning experience, even though it's really hard for me to express my ideas in class. I'm trying really hard to improve and keep up the pace with my classmates. That was my first video. I'll see you in the second. Peace out.